AITA for sabotaging my sister's wedding after she repeatedly stole my ideas and minimized my achievements for years. My sister and I have always had a complicated relationship. From childhood, it felt like I was constantly in her shadow. She is naturally charismatic and easily makes friends. I am more introverted and artistic. This difference defined our roles in the family dynamic. She was the golden child, and I was the quiet one. I never resented my sister for her natural abilities. I understood that people are different. I did resent the way our parents seemed to value those specific traits more than mine. It felt like they saw my introversion as a flaw. I wished they would appreciate my creativity and my unique perspective. Instead, they often pushed me to be more like her. They encouraged me to join clubs and attend social events. I always felt awkward and out of place. This pressure only reinforced my feelings of inadequacy. I began to believe that I was somehow less worthy of their love. Over time, this dynamic created a deep-seated insecurity within me. I questioned my own value and talents. I wondered if I would ever measure up to my sister's standards. It affected my self-esteem and my relationships with others. I became hesitant to express myself. I feared judgment and rejection. I internalized the message that my true self was not good enough. I spent years trying to conform to their expectations, but it never felt authentic. It wasn't that my parents favored her outright. They provided for both of us equally, but their personalities meshed better with hers. They loved her outgoing nature and her ability to navigate social situations. I think they struggled to understand my artistic pursuits and my need for solitude. This difference in understanding created a subtle imbalance. I felt like I always had to work harder to gain their approval or recognition. It was exhausting to constantly feel like I was competing for their attention. This pattern of comparison extended beyond our parents. Extended family members also seemed to gravitate toward her. They would praise her accomplishments and ask about her life. My accomplishments often went unnoticed or were met with polite but unenthusiastic responses. It was always about her latest promotion or her busy social calendar. I started to dread family gatherings. I knew I would feel invisible and overlooked. I couldn't help but wonder if I was imagining things. I wondered if maybe I was just sensitive. I thought maybe I needed to develop thicker skin. Perhaps their praise was genuine, but then I would think back to specific instances. I recalled birthdays where she received elaborate gifts. Mine were often afterthoughts. There were holiday dinners where her opinions dominated the conversation. I felt that my voice was insignificant. I started keeping a mental tally of these incidents. It became hard to ignore the clear pattern. I tried talking to my parents about it once. I explained how I felt overshadowed. I told them about the constant comparisons. They brushed it off. They said I was being too sensitive. They insisted that they loved us equally. They said that I should be proud of my sister's achievements. This made me feel even more isolated. It felt like nobody understood what I was going through, so I stopped bringing it up. I decided to deal with it on my own, but her actions never ceased. Whenever I achieved something, she would find a way to diminish it or claim credit for it. In high school, I won a regional art competition. She told everyone that she gave me the idea for the piece. When I got accepted into a prestigious art school, she said that it was only because they needed to fill a quota. These instances chipped away at my self-esteem. I tried to ignore it, attributing it to sibling rivalry, but it continued into adulthood. I started a small business crafting handmade jewelry. It was something I was passionate about. I put my heart and soul into designing unique pieces. My business began to gain traction. I was excited about the prospect of finally building something for myself. Then my sister decided to get married. My parents were thrilled about the wedding. Everyone was offering to help with the preparations. My sister asked me to handle the decorations. I agreed, despite already working hard on my jewelry business. I thought I could manage both. I soon realized I had underestimated the amount of work involved in planning a wedding. I found myself juggling endless tasks. I had to book the venue, choose the flowers, and coordinate with the caterer. I was also trying to fulfill orders for my jewelry business. I felt overwhelmed and stressed. I started neglecting my own needs to meet everyone else's expectations. I pushed my jewelry business to the side. I devoted all my energy to the wedding. I wanted my sister to have the perfect day. I wanted to make my parents happy. I worked tirelessly to ensure the wedding preparations went smoothly. I lost sleep and skipped meals. I was determined to make everything perfect. I did not want to disappoint anyone. I figured her wedding would be the perfect opportunity to showcase my jewelry. I decided to design a custom necklace for her to wear on her special day. I spent weeks perfecting the design. I even incorporated some of her favorite colors and gemstones. I presented it to her at her bridal shower. I thought she would be thrilled. Instead, she acted strangely. She thanked me for the necklace, but her tone was flat. She set it aside without really looking at it. Later, I saw her talking to our mother. I overheard her saying she already had jewelry planned. She called my necklace gaudy. I felt crushed. I tried to ignore the comment and focus on being supportive. I still wanted her wedding to be perfect. I tried to brush off the necklace incident. I thought maybe she was stressed about the wedding. I wanted to show her I cared, despite the awkwardness. I offered to help with some of the wedding tasks. I figured planning would be overwhelming. She seemed receptive at first. She asked me to help her choose a venue. We toured several places together. She acted like she valued my opinion. We even found a place that we both loved. I was relieved. I believed we were finally connecting. Then, a few weeks later, she changed her tune again. She told me she was going with a different venue. She said our mother thought the other place was better. I felt hurt and confused. I did not understand why she involved me in the first place. It seemed like she only wanted my input when it suited her. I tried to remain positive. I still wanted to participate in her wedding. I figured I should just be supportive and let her make the final decisions. She asked me to be her maid of honor, which I accepted, hoping we could finally have a good relationship. The wedding planning commenced, and I was involved in every step. I shared ideas for decorations, favors, and even the wedding dress. She seemed enthusiastic about my suggestions. She told me how much she appreciated my help. I genuinely thought we were bonding. A few months before the wedding, I discovered she was using my jewelry designs in her bridesmaid gifts. She was passing them off as her own creation. I was hurt and angry. I confronted her about it. She brushed it off, saying it was just a small thing and that I was overreacting. She claimed she forgot I even showed her those designs. She stated it was a compliment that she liked my work so much. I tried to explain the time I spent sketching and perfecting those designs. I described the materials I had researched and the costs involved. I even showed her the notebook where I kept all my ideas. She flipped through it quickly, not really looking at anything. She said she thought I was just doing it as a hobby. She said she did not know I was serious about selling my jewelry. I told her I had been talking about it for months. I said I had even shown her my business plan. She claimed she did not remember any of that. I felt like she was deliberately trying to diminish my efforts. I asked her why she could not just apologize. I said an apology would be enough to ease my anger. I told her I would not tell anyone. I would still be in her wedding. I just needed her to acknowledge what she did was wrong. She refused. She said apologizing would make her seem weak. She stated she did nothing wrong. She accused me of trying to sabotage her wedding. I felt completely defeated. I knew then that our relationship was irreparably damaged. I did not let it go. I explained how much those designs meant to me. I told her I planned to sell them. She said I was being dramatic. She implied I should be happy she found them good enough to use. We argued for hours. I realized she would never acknowledge my feelings. She never saw my work as valuable. She always made me feel like I was second best. I started to resent her. I considered ending our friendship entirely. I knew she would just play the victim. She would tell everyone I was jealous of her. I did not want to give her that satisfaction. I decided to stay in the wedding. I would smile and pretend everything was fine, but I would also make her pay for what she had done. I would ruin her perfect wedding. She would learn not to mess with me. This was the last straw. I felt like she was constantly stealing my ideas and minimizing my accomplishments. I decided I would retaliate. I spent the next few weeks subtly sabotaging her wedding plans. First, she decided that she wanted to hire a specific florist from out of state, but it was very expensive and she had already maxed out her budget. I offered to make the flower arrangements myself. She was hesitant at first, but I convinced her that I could save her money and deliver beautiful results. I assured her that I had experience with floral arrangements. I had watched a few YouTube videos and thought that it wouldn't be difficult. I underestimated the work required. I went to the local flower market and bought various flowers. I tried to recreate the designs I saw online. The flowers were difficult to work with. They broke easily and did not want to stay in place. The thorns pricked my fingers. I spent hours in my kitchen trying to get them right. I got frustrated and took a few breaks. I thought I could fix the arrangements in the morning. I put the flowers in buckets of water in my garage overnight. I thought they would be fine. The next morning, I went to the garage and saw the damage. The garage was too warm, and the flowers had wilted. Some of the flower heads had fallen off. The colors were not as vibrant as they had been the day before. I attempted to revive them with fresh water and ice. Nothing worked. I was running out of time and had to deliver them to the bride. I knew she would not be happy. I braced myself for her reaction. On the day before the wedding, I presented her with the flower arrangements. They were a disaster. The flowers were wilted, the colors clashed, and the overall arrangement looked amateurish. She was furious. She accused me of deliberately ruining her wedding. I feigned innocence. I told her I was trying to help and that I did my best. I said maybe she should have stuck with her original florist. Next, she asked me to handle the seating chart. I knew that she had a particular vision in mind. She wanted to seat certain people together to create a specific atmosphere. I pretended to follow her instructions. Instead, I intentionally mismatched guests. I placed people with known feuds next to each other. I separated couples who were inseparable. I put all the loud talkers at the front of the room. I thought the resulting chaos would be entertaining. I spent a lot of time on that seating chart. It took me hours to finalize it. I made sure each table had at least one volatile mix. I also made sure to scatter some less confrontational people around to act as a buffer. I hoped the buffers would fail at their task. I wanted things to escalate. I wanted my sister to see how ridiculous her desire for control was. I thought a chaotic wedding would be a better memory than a perfectly staged one. My sister thinks she can control every aspect of her life. I believe life is messy. Weddings should reflect that reality. I also admit that I was a little bit bored and looking for something to do. Before the reception started, I made sure to point out the seating chart to a few key players. I told them how excited my sister was about it. I acted like I was completely on board with her plan. I even added a few complimentary details about how thoughtful it was. This made my plan even better. I knew that when things went wrong, they would assume it was my sister's intention. It would be even funnier to me if my parents or future in-laws got involved. I found a seat where I could watch most of the tables. I got myself a drink and waited for the show to begin. During the reception, I watched as the seating chart created tension and awkwardness. People argued. Couples looked confused. The overall atmosphere was strained. My sister noticed what was happening. She shot me angry glances from across the room. I just smiled sweetly back at her. Finally, the biggest act of sabotage involved the wedding cake. She had ordered a custom-designed cake that was supposed to be the centerpiece of the reception. I knew the baker personally. I called the baker a few days before the wedding. I pretended to be my sister and changed the flavor of the cake to something disgusting. I told the baker my sister suddenly had a craving for liver-flavored cake. I thought the guests would be in for a nasty surprise. I thought it was a brilliant plan. The baker even thanked me for calling, saying my sister was lucky to have such a thoughtful sibling. I imagined the looks on everyone's faces when they tasted the cake. I pictured my sister's humiliation. I reveled in the thought of her perfect wedding being ruined. I spent the days leading up to the wedding feeling smug and satisfied. I told myself she deserved it. I convinced myself this was payback for all the years of her putting me down. I made sure to act normal around her in the days before the wedding. I even helped her with some last-minute errands. She seemed happy and excited. This made me feel even more justified in my plan. I believed she was too happy, and I needed to bring her down a peg. The wedding day arrived, and I put on a dress. I acted as if I was thrilled for her. I even gave a speech in which I wished her and her partner a lifetime of happiness. I managed to keep a straight face. I knew the real surprise was coming later. I watched as she walked down the aisle. I saw the look of love in her partner's eyes. I waited for the reception with anticipation. I couldn't wait to see my plan unfold. I kept replaying her past actions in my head, further solidifying my belief that I was doing the right thing. I truly believed I was justified in ruining her special day. On the day of the wedding, they wheeled out the cake. It looked beautiful. My sister and her partner cut the first slice and shared it. They both looked disgusted as they chewed. I could see their faces contorting in horror. Guests started spitting out the cake. A wave of revulsion spread through the room. My sister started crying and ran out of the room. I felt a twinge of guilt, but then I remembered all the times she had hurt me. After the wedding, she refused to speak to me. The rest of my family is also upset with me. They said I ruined her special day. I feel like she ruined many days of my life. She stole my ideas and minimized my achievements for years. Was I wrong to retaliate? Was I the one who took it too far? I think she deserved it, but my family does not agree. AITA?